Considering that Diablo 4 is a looter ARPG, gearing is one of the most important factors in how well you perform. In this gearing guide, we'll be going over Diablo 4's gear progression system, how to read gear stats, and farming strategies for getting gear fast. From levels 1 to 50, it's important to learn all of the basics. Gear rarity is the first thing you should come across. Rarities are color-coded, white for common, blue for magic, yellow for rare, orange for legendary, and gold for unique. Rarity affects how many affixes a piece of equipment can have. These are important for doing more and more damage in the endgame through multipliers. Legendary equipment has a special augment called a legendary aspect. These have various effects and can do things like add functionality to abilities, make something stronger, or even change the damage type properties of skills. Once you hit the level 50 to 100 range, certain endgame builds require uniques in order to work. Unique items have special aspects that can only be found on that unique item. Most uniques are kind of useless at the moment, but the ones that matter make a huge difference. In World Tier 3 and World Tier 4, Diablo 4 has a gear progression system that makes your prior gear useless. World Tier 3 will drop a new kind of equipment called sacred equipment. The difference between sacred and non-sacred equipment is pretty substantial. In World Tier 4, the new equipment type is called ancestral. It's important to meet the rising level of difficulty in the new world tiers by switching out your gear immediately. You can spot sacred and ancestral gear by the border glow in your inventory. Here's some special nuances about gear to understand. Types of gear can only roll specific affixes. Accessories seem to have the largest pool of affixes, while weapons can only roll offensive affixes. And armor can mostly roll defensive ones with a few exceptions. Chest armor, for example, can roll plus damage %, main stat, and all stat. Gloves are the other exception with crit chance, core skill ranks, and attack speed. Certain types of equipment have something called inherent affixes. For example, crossbows on rogue have an inherent vulnerable damage affix. You can find other inherent affixes on things like boots and pants that do things like give extra charges of evade or add special bonuses to using potions. Unique equipment have static affixes, meaning they never change. You can, however, find better rolled affixes. Affixes can be re-rolled at the occultist through the enchantment system. Legendary aspects have categories that only specific types of equipment can roll. If you hover over an aspect that you've extracted at the occultist, you can see utility aspects, as an example, can only be imprinted onto helm, chest, boots, gloves, and amulets. This also means that any other type of equipment can't roll utility aspects. Except for boots or gloves, any piece of equipment can drop with a socket. You can add a socket at the jeweler, but with limitations. You can only add one socket to equipment, even if the maximum amount of sockets is 2. So even though chest armor can have 2 sockets, if the chest armor drops with no sockets, it can only have a maximum of 1 socket added. The most popular gems to socket in equipment are rubies in armor, for the max health percentage, and emeralds in weapons, for the crit damage first vulnerable. Let's talk about the fastest ways to farm equipment in Diablo 4. In the early leveling, any dungeon with a boss or legion event drops guaranteed legendaries after level 35. At level 15, treasure goblins drop guaranteed legendaries. Your main goal in the early leveling should be farming strongholds for the experience. If you haven't fully ranked up your renown yet, do some dungeons you haven't completed yet to get renown, equipment, and level all at the same time. Level 50 plus, your best bet for getting new equipment is farming nightmare dungeons that you can complete very quickly. Aim for nightmare dungeons that take around 3 to 5 minutes to finish. Other ways to farm equipment are using murmuring obols at the Curiosities NPC, collecting caches from completing whispers, and hell tides, mainly focusing on opening the chests of mysteries, or any other specific equipment types you're looking for. If you found this video helpful, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, good luck, and have fun.